Every year, the best team in college football is decided by the national championship. But today, it'll be decided by football imperialism. The concept is simple. I simulated an entire season in college football 25, and the top teams from each conference earned a spot to compete to be the best team in college football. We have a total of 25 teams, and every single one of the 11 conferences will be represented by at least one team. We will then spin the wheel to determine which team will go on the attack first, and then spin the arrow to decide the direction of their attack. The winning team will then claim all of the losing team's territory, and the last team left standing will win this college football imperialism. Our first spin sees the Arizona Wildcats going on the attack, and after giving the arrow a spin, it points northeast, setting the stage for a matchup with Colorado State. And as you can see, Arizona definitely has the overall advantage, and they are actually ranked 16th. But since Arizona is the attacking team, they have to play in Colorado State, which will make it a little bit more difficult with the home field advantage. Colorado State's quarterback was looking downfield, but ended up underthrowing the pass, and Arizona State's Tacario Davis intercepts the ball and is sprinting down the field. He's still going, but is eventually stopped just before reaching the end zone. The stadium pulse is booming, but unfortunately for the home team, Arizona's quarterback Noah Fufada was able to connect with his receiver to score the first touchdown of the game. The game quickly got away from Colorado State, and in the fourth quarter, Arizona extended their lead with a field goal. And that was pretty much it, as the Arizona Wildcats secured the 48-24 victory and get to claim all of Colorado State's territory on the map. And with that loss, only one Mountain West school is left in the competition. As the wheel spins for the next matchup, it lands on NC State. Let's spin the arrow to see which direction they have to attack, and it's going to be south. Having a quick look at the map, they are going up against the Clemson Tigers. I would have to assume Clemson has the advantage here, but NC State has a solid offense. The game ended up tied after one quarter, but late in the second, NC State was working their way down the field with this nice pitch play for a big gain. Unfortunately, on the very next play, NC State's quarterback throws a costly interception, and the Clemson defender was able to take it the rest of the way for a pick six. After Clemson quickly extended their lead, NC State started turning the game around as they were able to finally get on the board with a touchdown. They then got the ball right back, and on 1st and 10, NC State's quarterback steps back and throws the ball, but it gets intercepted once again by Barrett Carter. Clemson could not convert that turnover into points, and NC State has a chance to tie it up. They were able to move down the field with this 29-yard pass, but the quarterback immediately takes a sack and time runs out. Clemson barely sneaks out the win and now gets to take over all of NC State's territory on the map. As the wheel spins for the third time, it ends up landing on Liberty University. Let's spin the arrow, and they are heading northwest to move into an unclaimed territory. Right into the next wheel spin, it ends up landing on the Ohio State University, and they have to head east, which means they are attacking Liberty for a big chunk of territory. I wonder if we're going to see our first major upset, as Ohio State is the number 2 ranked team in the game with a 96 overall defense. And honestly, it was all Buckeyes in the first half, as Travion Henderson scored a short rushing touchdown, and on their very next possession, he got all the way down the field before Junkins punches in to take a 14-point lead in the first half. The second half ended up being more of the same, and Ohio State got the win by a huge margin, officially eliminating Liberty and taking their territory on the map. Without skipping a beat, the wheel lands on the Texas Longhorns, and as we spin the arrow to determine which way they have to attack, it's going to be east. This means they will be attacking Louisiana Tech. Texas is by far the superior team, but we can never count out the home team in college football. Louisiana Tech kept it close in the first quarter, but in the second, they could not stop the run, and that led to Quinn Ewers throwing it underneath to his tight end for the touchdown. Somehow, Louisiana Tech got all the way down the field before quarterback Jack Turner punches in for a touchdown to cut the Longhorns' lead to just 3. And in the second half, Louisiana Tech was only down 10, and they were faced with a 3rd and long. So much time in the pocket. He throws to the end zone, and it's caught! But wait, there's a flag on the play. Doesn't matter, it's against Texas, and they are only down 3. Will we now see our first upset of this competition? Unfortunately for Louisiana Tech, they really could not stop the run game, and Quinn Ewers steps back, has some time, and throws it to the end zone to his receiver, who easily beats his defender for the touchdown. And that was enough for Texas to take down Louisiana Tech, but it was much closer than I expected. With that win, Texas also takes over all of Louisiana Tech's territory on the map, and there is no longer any CUSA teams left in this competition. We then saw Ohio State going on the attack, but they had to head southwest, moving into an unclaimed territory, followed by Syracuse heading south, also moving into an unclaimed territory, until finally the wheel lands on Georgia, who are heading west to take on Troy. Georgia is the number 1 rated team in college football 25 at a 95 overall. And Troy, well, they're only rated a 74. Troy got down the field with this absolute beautiful pass, and a couple plays later, Troy's quarterback has plenty of time before throwing a pass to the end zone for the first touchdown of the game. I am completely shocked that just happened. That lead didn't last long as Georgia came right back down the field and Carson Beck connects with his receiver in the end zone to go up 3. In the 4th, Troy has a chance to take the lead, and on 3rd down, Troy's quarterback launches it downfield. Receiver gets his hand on the ball, but it's knocked out. That would have been huge for Troy. Georgia was then able to kick 3 to extend their lead, but it gives Troy one last drive to stay in this game. Troy was able to move down the field with some nice passing, but with just 4 seconds left, he hikes the ball, scans the field, throws to the end zone, but it gets knocked away. Georgia barely sneaks out a win against Troy, and they now get to take over all of their territory. Before we continue on, I want to give a huge thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. I've been creating football content for over 4 years now, and it's been truly amazing. But what you don't really hear me talk about is the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes. And there have certainly been times where I felt overwhelmed and extremely stressed, but one thing I've learned is that it's not healthy to keep things bottled up. Which brings me back to today's video sponsor, BetterHelp. They can give you support and they offer a solution that is easy to fit in our busy schedules. BetterHelp connects you with a licensed therapist who is trained to listen and give you helpful, unbiased advice. First, you go to their site, you answer a few questions, and BetterHelp will match you to a professional who has years of experience helping people with struggles just like yours. You can do it from your phone or computer via phone call, video chat, or messaging, however you feel most comfortable. It's the easiest possible way to start talking to a therapist. Let BetterHelp connect you to a therapist who can support you, all from the comfort of your own home. Visit betterhelp.com/UpandAdamGaming or choose Up and Adam Gaming during sign up and enjoy a special discount on your first month. The next matchup showcased East Carolina, who had to head southwest and attack the Clemson Tigers. East Carolina are in the American Conference, and this is the second time we see Clemson on the field. Still no upsets, but there definitely have been some close games so far. After both teams traded touchdowns early in the game, it was all Clemson the rest of the first half, as they were able to score another touchdown to take a 10-point lead. As we sim ahead to the 4th quarter, Clemson has a 20-point lead and are in the red zone once again. This time, the quarterback keeps the ball and easily rushes in for another touchdown. And Clemson goes on to easily defeat East Carolina by a big score and take over all their territory on the map. Keeping this going, the next wheel spin is going to land on Ohio State once again. Let's see which way they have to attack this time, and it looks like they're heading northeast. Taking a peek at the map, that means they're going up against Maryland. Both teams are representing the Big Ten, but as you can imagine, Ohio State has the clear advantage. This game was quite the defensive battle early on, but right before halftime, Ohio State was down 4 points, but on 1st and goal, they were easily able to punch it in for 7 to take the lead. And even though the game was close in the first half, the Buckeyes really opened it up in the 4th quarter. The Terps were able to score again with this nice pass, but it was not enough as the higher-rated team once again goes on to win the game. And just like that, Ohio State expands their territory as they take over all of Maryland. As we spin the wheel once again, it looks like it's going to land on the Arizona Wildcats for the 2nd time. And they have a chance to attack Utah, Fresno State, or move into an unclaimed spot on the map. But after spinning the arrow, it looks like they're heading west to take on Fresno State. The Wildcats have the overall advantage, but I wouldn't count out the Bulldogs in this one at all. The first score didn't come until late in the first half, with Arizona getting down the field and finishing the drive with a rushing touchdown. Arizona continued right where they left off with another touchdown to extend the lead to 11. Fresno State desperately needs a stop, but Arizona finds a way to pick up the first down to keep their drive alive. A few plays later, Arizona decides to go for it on 4th down. He hands it off to his running back, who easily scores to put this game out of reach. And just like that, the Arizona Wildcats eliminate the last Mountain West team in Fresno State, taking over all of their territory. During the next 3 spins, Georgia, Texas, and Oklahoma State all claim the unclaimed territories surrounding them. However, the Toledo Rockets find themselves attacking next. After giving the arrow a spin, they are tasked with attacking north, which happens to be Western Michigan. And this game was all Toledo as they scored again late in the 3rd quarter to really pour it on. I have to credit Western Michigan because they fought right to the very end, but clearly the damage was already done, and Toledo went on to easily win the MAC conference game with ease. And with that, we see Toledo taking all of Western Michigan's territory and are the last team left for the MAC conference. Next team up is going to be Notre Dame for the first time, and the arrow points west, which means they can move into an unclaimed territory. Right into the next wheel spin, it lands on Utah, and they can only attack Arizona or move into an unclaimed territory. I spin the wheel, and it points east. Another conference matchup. This should be a very even matchup as both teams are similar rated, but Arizona has a home field advantage. This game went exactly how I expected, with both teams going back and forth, and in the 4th quarter, Arizona trailed Utah. They started the drive with a 20-yard run, and then we saw Noah Fifita throw a great pass, getting Arizona into scoring position. He then handed it off to Connolly, who dives into the end zone to take the lead late in the game. Faced with the 4th and inches, Utah quarterback Cameron Rising hikes the ball and finds a hole picking up 22 yards. It all comes down to the last play of the game. He hikes the ball, and he throws it to his tight end, who catches it. It's a touchdown. Oh my goodness, with just 1 second left, Utah wins. And just like that, Arizona is now eliminated and Utah takes over all of their territory. With just 15 teams remaining, the next team going on the attack is Appalachian State. And unfortunately for them, they're going up against Ohio State, Clemson, or Georgia. And after spinning the arrow, they're heading north to take on the Buckeyes, who clearly are the heavy favorite in this one. And to no one's surprise, Ohio State absolutely dominated the entire game, going on to easily defeat App State and taking over all of their territory on the map. And right into the next wheel spin, it lands on Syracuse, who have to head west to attack the Toledo Rockets, who already beat Western Michigan so far. But this will be a lot more challenging as Syracuse is higher rated than them. Both teams struggled to get any offense going on their first few possessions, but Toledo got on the board first with this great pass over the middle, and the receiver takes it the rest of the way for a touchdown. Toledo had a 14-point lead at one point, but Syracuse fought back and tied it up with a rushing touchdown. As we skip ahead to the fourth quarter, Toledo trails by 3 points with under 2 minutes to go. And for some reason, Toledo has so much time in the pocket, and quarterback Tucker Gleason waits and throws a great pass to his receiver, putting them at the 13-yard line. And on 1st and 10, Gleason steps back and throws it to the end zone, but it gets intercepted. And that was a dagger as Syracuse goes on to beat Toledo by just 3 points, and they now get to take over all of Toledo's territory. Moving on to the next wheel spin, it lands on Washington State for the first time. This time, the arrow is pointing south, and this one's clear, they get to move into an unclaimed territory. And on the very next spin, we see Oklahoma State going on the attack. After giving the arrow a spin, it points southeast, which means they take on the Texas Longhorns. This is going to be a battle, and even though Texas is higher rated, Oklahoma State has superstar Ollie Gordon at running back. This is a one-score game in the second half. Oklahoma State can extend the lead to 14 with a touchdown on this drive. And on 3rd and goal, Oklahoma State keeps handing it off to Ollie Gordon, who scores his second touchdown of the game. Oklahoma State was able to get a defensive stop and then capitalized on it with Alan Bowman throwing to the end zone for a touchdown, taking a 3-possession lead. And that was all Oklahoma State needed to upset the number 3 ranked Texas Longhorns, taking all of the Longhorns territory as well. With that first big upset of the competition, the next team going on the attack is UAB. And after looking at the map, they will be taking on Oklahoma State, Ohio State, Alabama, or Georgia. Hitting the arrow and it points south, or to the east, so they take on number 1 ranked Georgia. I wonder if we could see another upset here. The first half was kind of boring until Carson Beck breaks off a sack and finds his receiver, picking up a big gain and then setting up this rushing touchdown by Trevor Etienne. Even though Carson Beck and the Georgia Bulldogs weren't having a big offensive game, their defense was holding up. Beck was then able to connect with his receiver over the middle before handing off to Trevor Etienne once again for his second touchdown of the game. They kept their foot on the gas and went on to beat UAB by a big score. And just like that, UAB is eliminated and Georgia takes over all of their territory. Continuing to see which team is up next, and the wheel finally lands on Alabama for the first time. They won't have an easy game either way, as they will be playing against Georgia or Oklahoma State. Let's give the arrow a spin, and they are attacking east, it looks like. This is going to be a big matchup against the Georgia Bulldogs. Both teams are very high rated, and I have no idea who's going to come out ahead in this one. And this game really lived up to the expectations as Georgia trails by just 4 points in the fourth quarter. Beck is making some great plays as he connects with Oscar Delp for the first down. But on the very next play, Carson Beck makes a terrible read and it gets intercepted by Alabama's defense. If Bama gets a first down here, it'll seal the game. Milroe hikes the ball, step back, throws it downfield, and his receiver comes down with it. And that's ball game. Alabama takes down the number 1 ranked Georgia Bulldogs by just 4 points. And more importantly, they take over all of their territory on the map. The map is really starting to shape out, and on the next spin, we saw Clemson Tigers heading back on the attack. This time, they have to head north to take on the Buckeyes. Are we really about to have back-to-back great games here? After both teams traded touchdowns to start the game, it was Clemson who got themselves back in the red zone. After a couple failed run plays, they elect to try the pass on 3rd down, but Cade Klublin takes a sack and fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by the Buckeyes. After jumping ahead to the second half, Ohio State leads by a big score. But Clemson was able to find the end zone to cut the lead down to 11. Unfortunately for Clemson fans, the Buckeyes scored once again and ended up winning 42-31, taking over all of Clemson's territory on the map and eliminating one of the favorites to win this competition. With just 9 teams remaining, the next couple of wheel spins saw some changes with Oklahoma State, Syracuse, and Notre Dame moving into unclaimed territories on the map. And on the very next spin, we get to see if Washington State is going to attack or move into an unclaimed territory. And after spinning the arrow, they're heading south to take on Utah. Not going to be an easy game for Washington State as Utah is the number 12 ranked team. And this game came down to the final minute of the game as Washington State trails by 7 and are faced with a 4th down. and John Mateer throws it to the end zone, but it gets knocked away. And Utah was able to win this game by just 7 points, taking over all of Washington State's territory, including some unclaimed spots in between. As the wheel spins once again, Oklahoma State is back on the attack, and this time they're heading west to take on North Texas, who are the last American Conference team left in this competition. There wasn't much defense played in the first half, with both teams putting up 17 points, and right before the first half ended, Alan Bowman connects with his receiver for the touchdown, and Oklahoma State takes the lead. Surprisingly, both teams struggled to put up any points in the second half, and Oklahoma has a chance to win this thing with under a minute to go. Unfortunately, they couldn't get into the end zone and had to settle for 3, sending this game to overtime. And in overtime, North Texas was able to score on their opening drive with this really great pass over the middle, but Oklahoma State answered right back with a passing touchdown of their own. Oklahoma State wasted no time scoring once again with this great pass to the back of the end zone. But unfortunately, they were unable to convert on their 2-point conversion, giving North Texas a shot to win this thing. North Texas's quarterback steps back in the pocket and throws another perfect pass to his receiver, who gets into the end zone. If they make this 2-point conversion, they win. He hikes the ball, throws a quick slant, and it's caught! North Texas upsets Oklahoma State. And just like that, North Texas takes over all of Oklahoma State's territory on the map. The wheel landed on Notre Dame once again, and after spinning the arrow, they're heading south to attack the very dominant Ohio State Buckeyes. This should be a very good game against two really good teams. And it certainly was, as Notre Dame had a 3-point lead heading into halftime. Ohio State really needs to score on this drive, and they are doing a great job working their way down the field. And on the next play, Will Howard finds his tight end wide open for the easy touchdown. Notre Dame couldn't answer back, and on Ohio State's next possession, Howard was able to throw this absolute beam to his receiver for yet another touchdown. Notre Dame kept this game close, but it wasn't enough, and Ohio State is moving on, winning by just 2 points. They also got to take over all of Notre Dame's territory, giving them a massive spot on the map. And right into the next wheel spin, Alabama goes on the attack, spinning the arrow, and they are heading west to take on North Texas. I wonder if North Texas can continue their Cinderella run in this competition, and it doesn't look like it, as Alabama was able to score at will in the first half. This continued the rest of the game, and North Texas could not keep up, losing 31-13 and are now eliminated from this competition. And Bama continues their run by taking all of North Texas's territory. Continuing on, we only have 5 teams left on the map, and it looks like Ohio State goes back on the attack. This time, they are heading north to take on Syracuse. And it was Syracuse that came out to a great start, scoring early in the game to take a lead, and then right before the second quarter ended, they were able to find the end zone once again to take a 14-point lead. This is not looking good for the Buckeyes at all. Ohio State's defense came up big to start the second half, and their offense immediately got down the field and scored this rushing touchdown to cut the lead in half. As the game continued on, Ohio State trailed by 4 points, and Syracuse went 3-and-out, giving the ball back to the Buckeyes. With 2 minutes to go, Will Howard is doing everything he could to get Ohio State down the field, making some great reads, and the next thing you know, they are in the red zone. A few plays later, Will Howard hands it off to Henderson, who easily scores a touchdown to give Ohio State their first lead of the game. One last shot for Syracuse to win the game. McCord connects with his receiver, but time runs out, and the Buckeyes hang on long enough to get the win, taking over all of Syracuse's territory, including the unclaimed states to the east. On the next wheel spin, Alabama was the next team to go on the attack, with the arrow pointed west, so they get to move into an unclaimed territory next to Utah. But on the very next spin, we finally get to see Michigan going on the attack. After giving the arrow a spin, they have to head southwest, and that means they have to attack their rivals, Ohio State. After a slow start from both teams in the first quarter, Ohio State has the opportunity to extend their lead. After a couple unsuccessful plays, Will Howard throws a screen to Henderson, who uses his speed and dives into the end zone, putting the Buckeyes up 11. In the second half, Michigan started the comeback, scoring multiple rushing touchdowns. Will Howard ended up throwing a costly interception on 4th and inches, giving Michigan the ball right back. Michigan went down the field and threw the ball to the back of the end zone to his tight end for the touchdown and the lead. With almost no time left, Will Howard steps back in the pocket and throws a perfect post route to his receiver, who turns on his burners and takes it the rest of the way for the touchdown. Ohio State barely holds on and defeats their rivals by a close score, and more importantly, they remain in this competition, taking over all of Michigan's territory. With just 3 teams remaining, the wheel lands on Utah, and spinning the arrow, it points southeast, which means they have a date with Alabama. The winner between these 2 teams will be taking on Ohio State in the finals. Alabama started this game strong, as they were the first ones on the board with this rushing touchdown. After Bama's defense stood tall, Jalen Milroe was able to connect with his receiver for a 4-yard touchdown. Trailing by 13, Utah needs to score here, and Rising was able to convert on this 3rd down before handing it off to his running back, who easily finds the end zone. Both teams quickly traded touchdowns, and late in the 4th quarter, Cameron Rising throws a perfect pass to his receiver for the touchdown. Instead of going for the tie, Utah elects to go for the win with a 2-point conversion. Unfortunately, the ball gets intercepted and the defender takes it the rest of the way for a pick 2. They fail to convert on the onside kick, Bama wins. And it's recovered. Alabama was barely able to hang on to the win, and they now get to take over all of Utah's territory on the map. Just 2 teams remain, and the winner will then control the entire map of the United States. And for this game, they will play in a neutral stadium for the national championship. Will the Big Ten be victorious, or will a team from the SEC take it home? Ohio State's opening drive started out pretty good, but it quickly got shut down by the Alabama defense. And Bama's offense came out to play, easily working their way down the field, but are faced with a 4th and inches. Milroe hikes the ball and hands off to Jam Miller, who pushes his way into the end zone for the first score. Even though they had a tough opening drive, the Buckeyes offense went to work with some nice passing, and Will Howard closed out the drive with a rushing touchdown to tie this one up. Unfortunately, Ohio State's defense really struggled stopping Bama's offense in the first half, and Jalen Milroe finds Kobe Prentice in the end zone to retake the lead. Jalen Milroe was then able to throw another passing touchdown to extend their lead to 14. As the second half begins, Ohio State's defense finally gets a stop, and that led to their offense working their way all the way down the field, and on 1st and goal, Howard hands it off to Junkins, who finds a hole and scores a touchdown. After settling for 3, Bama has a 2-possession lead. Faced with a big 4th and 5, Howard steps back in the pocket and throws a quick pass, which is caught by his receiver for the first down. Howard was absolutely slinging the rock, and a couple plays later, he goes for the end zone, and his receiver keeps his feet in bounds for the catch, cutting the lead to just 3. And Bama hold on to win this game. Milroe was doing everything he could to keep his offense on the field, and on 3rd down, Milroe connects with the receiver for the first down. After using all 3 timeouts, a first down will seal the deal. Milroe steps back in the pocket and throws it to a wide open receiver for the first. And just like that, Alabama kneels out the rest of the game, and they are your college football imperialism champions. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out this NFL imperialism, but everyone is on their team that drafted them.